my HR journey. I'll start from the beginning. Thank you, HR with CA, for making me to be able to reminisce about my journey for over 20-something years. And like I told Odwayo, that this is very emotional for me, because it just made me to look back at what has happened. And I actually termed this story of grace. Without God, we are nothing. So, but as you follow through with me, you will understand that all this couldn't have been done with a man's power or a woman's power. Whether I'm a man or a woman, I don't know. But all this couldn't have been achieved by any human being. So I'll start from the beginning. I read adult education. I did A-levels after school sat. I had some points which could not get me into the course I wanted to study. So at that phase of life, I was going from faculty to faculty just to look for any course that my points could study. But I landed in adult education. I didn't really like the course because that was not what I wanted. But after A-levels, I had stayed at home for a year, and I knew all my mates that went straight to the university after secondary school were already in their third year. So I accepted adult education reluctantly, thinking maybe when I get to school, I'll be able to change my course, but that wasn't possible. So I said I was going to give it my best shot. And school, going through school was tough. Most times I don't even know where the next allowance was going to come from. But I celebrated a lady maybe about 2 years ago, to appreciate her, because it occurred to me that I should not wait until she dies before I appreciate her. So I was in the room, Queen's Hall, University of Ibadan, with a younger lady who entered university before she was 14. And I actually became her school mother. She didn't like to cook, but she had money. I knew how to cook, but I wasn't having money. So I was always cooking, going to the market. She brings money. She goes home every weekend and brings money. And I stayed with her for my 3 years of my university education, and through her, I didn't really lack anything in school. And so that was how school was actually rough. But somehow God connected me at that point with a destiny helper. And Ayola was so wonderful till we left school and we graduated. I think I graduated a year before her. So I went for NYSC in Niger State. And after that, because I didn't want to teach, I didn't really like teaching. So I came back for master's. And God helped me through master's. I had distinction. Distinction in master's was very rare at that time. In fact, if you get distinction, they give you proceed to PhD directly. You don't need to do MPhil. But because I didn't want to teach, I saw the way the lecturers were, doing handouts to be able to make money. And some of them, the younger lecturers, even begging us students for money. I said, I don't want to be like any of these ones. So I left. When I went back about 10 years ago, when I went back to collect, because I just remember I didn't collect my certificate. So I went back to collect my certificate, and the people in the postgraduate school said, how did you get a distinction and you wasted it? That a lot of people are dying to get this. I said, no, I don't want to teach. So maybe later when I retire, I can go back to lecturing. But that was not my journey, that time. So I started my HR. I started consulting actually. So it was divine coincidence that brought me to consulting. I started my career with a one-man business called Development Support Agency. This was like a preparatory program for me in my career, a preparatory stage. The pay was so low, but it launched me to the world of work. I was taught how to write proposal, you know, and I was there for 1 year. The salary was ridiculously low that when I removed transport money and remove money for lunch, most times by third week, the money will have finished. But I like the fact that the owner was sending me out to organizations to draw proposals. I was meeting people and I had faith. However, while working at Development Support Agency, the cleaner every Tuesday will give me Tuesday guidance and say, Auntie Abike, come and check. So on this particular Tuesday, so that job provided me opportunity to have access to Tuesday Guardian, which was the only place you could get a job in those days. So she brought this Guardian and said, they are looking for consultants. So maybe that's what you are doing here. And as I looked at that job post, it clicked that this job is for you. But they were asking for master's degree and also 5 years experience. I have master's degree, but I don't have 5 years experience. But something in me just clicked that this job is for you. So I applied, but I didn't get anything. After some time, the owner of the business wasn't really making money. So she shut down the business and I left. After I left, I started looking I had applied, that job was for Coopers and Lee brand. I had an auditing firm, but with a consultancy arm. I started looking for someone that knows anybody in Coopers and Lee brand to help me find out about the updates of the application. Finally, I got someone. And the person he knows said I should bring another application. I did not remember the position. I didn't, because I had applied for so many jobs and I didn't keep any copy. So I went back to that organization and I still met that lady. So we searched and searched the old newspapers, but we couldn't find it because we didn't even know what we were looking for. We brought out all the Tuesday and Thursday guidance and, we didn't see. So I left the place. I started asking God, if this job is for me, direct me to where I will get this job post so that I can reapply. So that organization was at Bariga. So I got to a bus stop. I didn't know where I was going actually. I just stood at the bus stop and a bus came and was calling Pangu Fonipan, Pangu Fonipan. I just said, I don't have anything to lose. I just entered the bus. I said, God, but I'm looking for something. Where will I get down? How will I see it? Then I remembered as we were approaching Onipan that my previous organization had sent me to a hospital at Onipan. So I went there and met the man and told the man I was looking for Tuesday Guardian. He said they don't save their old newspapers. So I left. I was trekking on Ikorodu Road. I was telling God, you know everything. I need this job. Please direct me. Then I remember that somebody had pointed me to one company by Onipan that his friend works there. So I went there to ask for that, his friend. And I met him. I said, I'm looking for a Tuesday Guardian. I can't remember the date. But so the man said, where we keep our newspaper is very dirty. If you can do the dirty job, go there and search. As I started searching and I was saying, God, I need you now. Please help me to be able to reapply for this job. As I opened, the man came after about 1 hour that, how is it going? Have you seen it? I don't think you can see. I said, I have faith. I will see it. And as I opened the next page, it was that job post. I was so happy. It was as if I've gotten the job. So I reapplied and I was invited for aptitude test. When I sat for the test, when I got there, it was maths and English. To get O-level maths took me God's grace. So immediately I saw the maths, I said, Holy Spirit, there's work for you here today. You can't take me to this point and leave me alone. So I started shading. It's A, B, C, D now. As I was shading, God, I don't know which one, A, whatever occurs to me, I was shading. And I left the place. I said, God, it can only take you. And so the results came out, and two of us came top. Two of us, me and one other guy, scored 61%. So we were invited for interview. I started preparing for this interview. I had never done a structured interview. It was not days of, what we have now that you can go on YouTube. There was no YouTube. So I started asking God, you have to prepare me for this interview. I don't even know anything about HR, apart from the little bit we were taught in school about industrial relations. I really don't know what HR was all about. So I visited that same elderly friend that helped to drop my CV, that I've been invited for interview and I need something about HR. Do you have any book I can read? He said, hey, there's one magazine that somebody dropped on this table. So I carried that magazine and I was reading that magazine like Bible. You will not believe it. When I got to the interview, all the questions they asked me at that interview were all the things I read in that magazine. Oh my goodness, I was so happy. So I got the job. Coopers and Libra then was an organization owned by the British. So I became the first lady consultant since they started the organization. Was working with men. It was so nice. The salary was huge. In fact, I couldn't even tell my friends what I was earning. It was too, huge compared to what my peers were earning. So I started my consulting career with Coopers. In 1999, there was a merger between Coopers and Price Waterhouse, a UK and an American company merged together. It was actually an acquisition. So 80 of us from Coopers moved to Price Waterhouse. So life in Price Waterhouse was so fast-paced. It was dog eat dog. Our managers were just throwing us under the bus to be able to retain their job. They were hiding those jobs from us. Then they will just go tell the senior partner that you are not committed. So when all my colleagues saw this, a lot of them started leaving one by one, everybody looking for opportunity outside. So one day, there was Guinness Nigeria requested for a proposal. All my managers were out of Lagos. So the senior partner called me. That was my first close interaction with him. He forwarded the email to me and said I should prepare the proposal. I was so scared. I have never been allowed to prepare any proposal. My managers were not around to review for me. So I wrote the proposal and prayed on top of that proposal. I gave it to manager of another department to help me look at it. As I was taking that hard copy proposal to the senior partner, I stopped by at Ladies to pray on top of it, because the way Price Waterhouse was then, you could get a sack from not writing a good proposal. So it's either that job, that assignment was going to make or mar me. And I took the proposal to the senior partner. He just signed and he said, good job. I was shocked. I said, so I can do a good job, It wasn't so long after that. So we got the assignments and we were on that assignment together. And life in PwC, at 1 a.m., 2 a.m., you still find colleagues at work. It was tough. No closing time. Sometimes we come on Saturday and Sunday. It was just normal. So after the assignments, twice every year, they normally send people away in PwC. December of every year and July or June. So my name came up among the list of people to be advised to resign. But the senior partner said he's not convinced, because the reason my manager gave was she's not committed. He said, no, she's committed. I've been in this office with her till 2 a.m. and I didn't see her, grumbling. So The day they were going to call me, there's a white guy that was working on an assignment in Abuja that was to call me to resign. The senior partner went to HR and said, is there anybody here who is close to that girl called Abike? That today, Charlie is coming by 3 o'clock flight to tell her to resign. So somebody should go and tell her to apply to leave consulting. I don't know where she will go, and that she should drop the original letter under Charlie's door, and she should submit a photocopy to HR. So one of my colleagues came to call me and said, this thing, they must not hear. You know, it can cost the senior partner his job. And this is the senior partner who is an atheist, who does not believe in God. In fact, he can sack you from reading Bible. But God decided to use him for me. So I applied as I was directed. By the time the Charlie came and saw the letter, I saw him going up and down, sweating inside AC. I said, okay now. So he couldn't tell me to resign again. Went to the senior partner, of course. So after about 2 or 3 days, I said, I need to go and see this senior partner. God, I don't even know what to tell him. Because this is a man, if you tell him that you are the one that said I should apply, he can tell you, then go immediately. So I went to see him. He said, so why did you apply to leave consulting? I said, I'm not fulfilled. He said, so what do you want to do? I said, I don't know. He said, but the only way for you to still continue to remain here is for you to know what you want to do. So as he was talking to me, I was saying, God, please lead me. What will I do? Then I just heard a voice that said, say you want to go to training. Training is a separate department. So I said, oh, I like to go to training. He said, have you spoken with the training manager? I said, no. So he picked his phone and called the training manager. The guy has gone home. He said, no problem. Tomorrow, discuss with Ayo. If Ayo says yes, we'll work together. If Ayo says no, I said, I move forward. He said, you move forward out of PwC? I said, yes. So I started praying throughout the night, God, please let Ayo say yes. Father, please. So the next day I saw Ayo. I said, Ayo, I'd like to move to training. He said, oh, that would be nice. Great. In fact, I felt like hugging Ayo. So I moved to training. Again, I started enjoying my career in PwC. While in training, I went abroad in 2000 for the first time for a training in France, myself and my colleague, so life was good. And that was what God did for me until I got another job. That was when I left PwC. So I left PwC and went to Magnum Trust Bank. Then now Sterling Bank. I was in charge of training. While in Magnum was good. Life was good initially. I had a wonderful manager. She was in charge of, she was the company secretary and also the one in charge of HR and admin. And, she gave you free hand, whatever you want to do, just justify. She always say, Abike, I know you know your onions, just keep training us, So there was a change. The head of audit was moved to head HR, and I started facing frustration in Magnum. Frustration in the sense that when the MD approves a course, she will tell me, MD has approved your course, then I will fix the date. But she won't give me the approval. And without the approval, I cannot collect money. So I will be using my salary to run the program until she gives the approval whenever she's ready. So we had a 3 months course for new graduates, about 40 of them with me in the training school. For the first month, I had spent over 400,000 at that time to train them. So I wasn't really happy. She came, my manager came with the MD to start on the first day of the program, to declare the program open. I reminded her, I've called severally. So in the training school, I'm going to be vulnerable here so that you can see that in life, we go through various things, but God used all these things to shape us. So they normally give us 10,000 to run the training school. which we keep in the cabinet. And my all the guys working with me, you know, they spend, once you spend, whatever you spend it for, put it on the envelope so that when we retire at the end of the month, we'll be able to have accurate records. So that particular month, that money was remaining 1,700. So when the guy asked me that, madam, so what do we do with this? Should we return it? I said, I've been using my money to run training school. I've spent over 400,000. So keep that 1,700. Don't return it because we don't know when she will approve. Sometimes for 2 weeks, she will say she's still reviewing our expenses and she won't approve another also for us to collect another one. So immediately I told that guy, I didn't know that my supervisor had told the guys in the training school to be watching me if I do anything unethical. So the guy went, a copper went and called madam, you know, and that was how they sent auditors to the training school. Because I didn't have anything to hide, they were, you know, questioning the consultant, the various trainers, the caterers and all that. So before I knew it, I was summoned to head office with my copper. So what happened? What did she say you should do? Did she collect the money from you? And he said, no, she didn't collect the money. She said I should keep it in the cabinet. So the MD got angry and said, you are the trainer. How can you be teaching people to do what is wrong? So they had a management meeting on this matter. I wasn't there. My former boss was telling me. And everybody was saying, MD said, it's 1,700 we are talking about here. MD said, no, it's not the amount, but it's the principle. So her appointment will be terminated. Some of the management staff said, MD, must it be that, you know, must the sanction be so high, you know? And the MD said, anybody that is not happy should resign and go with her. At that point, they all backed out and said, Abike, we wish you all the best. So that go and beg him, beg his wife, beg his mother so that he can change his mind. So the begging started. We begged. I went to his house, me and my husband, begged. I had left the bank so that he can allow me to resign. I left in maybe April. And, you know, after I begged for about 2 months, I got tired of begging. I said, I need to move on with life now. I will not allow. And when your appointment is terminated in the bank, it actually ends your career because you can't get a job in another bank again. So I said, no, a human being is too small to terminate my career. You were not there when the career started. So I stopped begging. As I was doing all the begging, I got Wema Bank offer as head of trading. So I moved to Wema Bank. I said, let the begging continue. So I got to Wema Bank. Wema Bank will not confirm you except they get reference from your previous bank. So the begging continued again. He said, if he writes, he's going to spoil it. So it's better for him not to write. So after staying in Wema Bank for about 10, 11 months, HR called me and said, we didn't get your reference, so you have to go. So I resigned and came back home after Wema Bank. Started trusting God for a job. Then I got a job with GSK. I was in charge of talent and development. I want to say that I saw the MD of the then Magnum Trust Bank many years ago in a party. So I went for my former boss, was it 60th birthday or something? And my husband said, see your guy. So I went to greet him. And he said, is that Abike? I said, you're looking nice. I said, thank you, sir. He said, are you still in HR field? I said, yes, sir. He said, oh, that's nice. I'm sure his conscience pricked him, you know. But I was so grateful to God that it could not end the career. So I went to GSK. GSK didn't need any reference, so life continued in GSK. I worked with a manager who was single and I guess frustrated with life, who was frustrating everybody in the team. But I told myself that, oh, this woman will not frustrate me. It's God that brought me here. So she won't even allow you to do any work so that you will not shine. So I was just doing intensive learning. GSK has a very robust intranet where you can learn everything. You know, they normally tell us while in GSK that don't reinvent the wheel. There's nothing new under the sun. A market will have done whatever you want to do. So on intranet, you can go to the page for GSK India or GSK Canada or GSK America, and you just be, downloaded a lot of documents, and I was just learning. So I told myself, this woman, you won't frustrate me. And after working there for about 2 years, I got a job. So from senior manager, I moved to NACO as a general manager. My salary tripled. It was a higher responsibility. I was in charge of HR and admin, But NACO, maybe a week before I started working NACO, somebody just told me, you are going to get rich very fast now that you are going to NACO. I said, how? He said, all the people I know there, they have houses. I said, are they building house for them? He said, no, but there's a way they make money. I say, hey, this is not the kind of money I want to. So in NACO, the salary increased, but I battle with keeping my values. In life, you must have values. One critical value I have in life is integrity. I believe that, just like the Bible says, if you gather money together, in an unethical way, it has a way to just go. So NACO, the battle to keep my value. But I have learned a life lesson from 1,700 on integrity, which I will never forget till I will die. So that helped me. In NACO, they were doing deals, There was one day my driver and my secretary said they wanted to see me, that everybody's making money. I'm the only one not making money. The salary they were paying me was too much, safe. And from that salary, we collect, bulk money about 3 or 4 times a year, which was more than enough. But of course, the way we Nigerians are. So my MD in NACO got angry because whenever he sends any of those his approval, I was one of myself, himself, and the CFO were the approving authority for the organization. So once the thing goes to CFO, he will call me, shine your eyes. They are sending something. Me too, I will refuse to sign because my signature is mine. While in NACO, we went to all management staff were invited to EFCC, SFU, we're going all over writing statements of things we didn't know anything about. I met one guy in EFCC as I was waiting because my driver had to come back to the mainland to pick the children in school. So I was waiting at EFCC gate for him. This man too, an EFCC staff, was waiting for his wife. And the man told me that the only reason why we were all invited was that they saw our signatures, that your signature is yours. You are not a rubber stamp. Don't sign anything you are not sure of. And I will never forget the advice from that man. So I refused to sign, no matter the pressure. Whenever the pressure became too much, I would just carry my bag and leave the office. I'll switch off my phone. They will be calling, I won't answer. So the MD went and convinced the board that we need our most senior staff to be in charge of operations. So I was transferred to operation. It was a career dislocation for me. And my husband said, resign immediately. That operations where they took me to was cargo. I was the first female staff to occupy that seat in 38 years. It was a tedious, dirty, you relate with area boys, agents, the unions. But I just told God, you are going to help me. I actually wrote my resignation letter, but I told my husband, I don't have a go-ahead to resign yet, so just give me time. So I went to cargo. I was so determined, and God helped me. When I got to cargo, the company was making like 80 million every week in cargo. The revenue grew from 80 million to 180 million. In fact, after I left, they've not been able to make that kind of money. God just favored me with the staff, with the agents, with the unions. When I'm in the warehouse, they will just say, Madam, you are too good for this place. Go and sit down. We will oversee everything for you. They were just, supporting and assisting me. Of course, my MD got angry and planned with some people. The kind of money I saw in NACO, I didn't see it when I was working in a bank. If you tell a cargo agent to go and bring 10 million, they will put it inside poly bag. Those guys are stinkingly rich. And even without doing deals, they share money every week. In fact, there was one day the custom guy in charge of the cargo shed called me and came to my office and said, all the money we have been sharing, they said you don't want. So, madam, what kind of a human being are you? That I envy you. I wish I can be like you. And that day, that man gave me like 150,000. Just say, I want to thank you. That is people like you we're really looking for in Nigeria. So after some time, the MD now planned with some people to implicate me. So I resigned. People were coming, they said we should lie against you. I said, okay, this cannot be the end of the journey. I came home. I started praying again. One thing I want to say that I forgot to mention, I got GSK job through a guy I met when the person I took over from in Magnum was leaving. It was him, he was the one that submitted my CV for GSK. So after I left NACO, I called him again and he said he was recruiting for some insurance companies. In fact, when I got to Crusader, I actually got 2 offers through him. And that's why networking is very important. It's not the kind of networking people do today that you just connect with somebody on LinkedIn and the next minute you are sending your CV. No, there must be a relationship. So you are not networking because of what you get. You are networking because it's good for your career. So that guy was the one that dropped my CV with Crusader. And in fact, it was his company, I think KPMG then, organized the interview. And I got, even though Custodian had bought Crusader, so it was an interim offer just for them to be able to clean out Crusader. They needed to have engagement with union for them to be able to sack the staff they were sacking. My colleague, Abayo Miyagiri, was the head of HR for Custodian. So we worked together on aligning. I cannot see my slide again. Hello.
Yes, we are here. Let me check what is going on, please.
Someone clicked something. Should I share again?
I think you can share it. Yes, share it again.
All right. Thank you. So I'm seeing that somebody had put the name of my NACO MD in that place. You're on your own. No, I did not mention any name. So I got an insurance job through that same guy. And I was in Crusader for a year and a half. But because the company was winding up, Custodian took over. I worked for a year and a half and I was paid, we were all compensated because the company was winding up. I was paid a full year salary. For me, it was like buy one, get one free. You know, a full year salary. From it, I was able to buy my then car for over 3.5 million. And I still came home with over 8 million. So I came home and started trusting God for another job. The same guy dropped my CV for InterSwitch. So I went to InterSwitch. I went for the interview and I started working for am I still within time?
Yes, please carry on. Yes, you are.
So I went to InterSwitch, and InterSwitch was such a wonderful place. Technology company, fast-paced, friendly, challenging. You know, it was such a wonderful place to work. In all the places I have worked, I would say InterSwitch is still the best. The MD only asked me one question, which is where humility comes in. The only question he asked when he looked at my CV, he said, Abike, you are older than me. Do you have a problem with that? I'm 5 years older than him. I said, no, that I've left my age at home. And so we started work. But at InterSwitch, I employed an evil genius who was my deputy. So I had to leave InterSwitch after 4 years. It was a very painful experience because what she did was I don't know, maybe manipulation or something, lied against me with all the staff, even with the MD. MD has told the board. So, but she wanted to become the group chief HR officer. She did all that and now got a job before I left as HR director in another organization. After she left, all the staff were coming to, apologize to me one by one that Abike have sinned against you. I said, no, you did not sin. They were all apologizing that she told them to go and lie to the MD and they've gone. But it was after she left that their eyes opened. I felt so bad. I said, what kind of a human being is this? So I had to leave because the MD had told the board and they've told the MD to start looking for a replacement. So I left. I met the MD. I said, but you could have told me. He said, yeah, the boy just believed that we were working together. So the MD magnanimously gave me 5 million, for what has happened and said, just try and work with us and put the next person through. If there's any job, there's nothing. And I really didn't do anything, So I decided to take a career break. So challenges, is part of our journey in life. We go through all these challenges and they kind of build our resilience. So I took a career break and followed my daughter that was going to resume in Canada and spend months in Canada, providing support for the children. But I actually still wanted to come back and continue work. So in 2019, January, I came back to Nigeria and I dusted my CV. When I had career break was actually when I discovered purpose. There's a way career just overwhelm and overshadow you that you don't even think of what you really want to do. It was during that time I started asking myself, okay, after this career, what exactly do I want to do? And that was what took me into coaching. While there, I started some free courses in coaching to see what this coaching is really all about. The hard time I went through actually shaped me. So I came back to Nigeria in 2019, dusted my CV. I was already 51. So I chatted a few people, I'm back, blah, blah, blah. I need a senior HR job. Of course, some people will say, who will employ you at 51? I said, no, this one, if you have God, you have his backing, you will always be employable. So I had met a lady, Lola Eson. Lola, I think, works with Deloitte at one training program while at InterSwitch, and we exchanged numbers. So Lola was among the people I forwarded my CV to. And Lola chatted me maybe about 2 weeks after that there's a role, but it is a fixed term opportunity. Do I mind? I said, no, I don't mind. I'm not doing anything. So I went for Heritage interview. I didn't know it was Heritage. She just said a bank, but she said they don't want to disclose the bank. And the interview didn't take place at Heritage. So I did. While asking I didn't even know that man was the MD. I was just asking questions. Why will you engage someone on fixed term appointment when you have head of HR? That the head of HR will not cooperate with the person. As I was questioning them, he just said, now I have changed the role to a permanent role. It was as if I was dreaming. And so I was giving Heritage offer. I went to the bank to collect my employment letter and I resumed. And when I resumed, everybody was saying, we didn't know you were coming. Heritage Bank was turbulent, but with God and with wonderful team, I was able to win. Professionalism prevailed against politics. I don't know how to play politics. I call a spade a spade. If you're going to kill me, I will still tell you. There are times I have to tell this MD, I say, sir, you are surrounded by monsters and they are not telling you the truth, and that's me. So I got to Heritage. They did everything to mess up my professionalism, but God helped me. I brought in new people about 4 people from then Access Diamond Bank that joined Access that were not happy about their career, and God actually used them to support me. So I was in Heritage Bank one day and someone chatted me on LinkedIn about mutual benefits. I said, me that is already going towards retirement. Don't worry. The guy said no, that I like your profile. I said, who is this small boy telling me he likes my profile? And so he just said, what do you have to lose by coming to see my clients for interview? It was towards Christmas. I said, okay, why not if not? And so that was how I left Heritage I went to attend the interview and somehow I got the job. That's like about 2 years ago. So that's my journey. So I have learned a few lessons on this journey. God is my competitive advantage. There are times I have gone for interview, and for me to even rate myself, I'll tell myself that except a miracle happens, and that miracle always happens, and I'll be the one to get the job. I have a very, very supportive husband. When I started my career, I didn't really know what I wanted to be. I just wanted to work. He's been my support system, he's the one helping me, even though he read engineering, but he's an HR consultant. So he knows HR more than me. And for men that are here, please support your wives. You are going to be a beneficiary. He supported me all through the journey. Even when I'm going for interviews, he will say, okay, oh yeah, kneel down, let me pray for you. We'll pray, we'll join hands together. When I'm at work and I'm going through challenge, I will call him and say, this is what has happened. What do you think I should do? He's the one that will tell me, oh, you shouldn't have said that. This is what you should have done. And that has helped me. Also, uphold your values. Don't dilute your value because someone you work with does not value what you value, because your value is already part of you. And like I've said before, good network is critical. I've gotten some of these jobs because of networking. Also, pain is part of the journey. Pain. The beauty of scar is resilience. I've spoken about some unpalatable incidences I've experienced, but it has actually built up my resilience on this career journey. Refuse to give up. I've known people who had the kind of issue I had in the bank and gave up, and that's ended their career. But somehow God just strengthens me and gives me that resilience. And lastly, focus on your journey. You're not competing with anybody. Everybody is striving where God has put them. Whether my colleagues, Kumbi Adeoti, Yemi Fasheung, everybody is striving, So just focus on your own journey. There's no basis for comparison. I'm running a program now. They are all supporting me without paying a dime, So, and that's how we support and help each other, because Kumbi is doing mentorship. Yemi is, doing training. And that's how we all support each other. So just with one call, I can say, please, I need your help here. And they're all there because we are all focusing on our journey. Thank you so much for the opportunity to share my story. I'll hand over the baton back to our...
Eyes bloodshot and I'm faded now. I tried